Howdy folks, Gary Polite again with Protection Against Crime, LLC. Y'all, today our class is on steps to help prevent being the victim of human trafficking. This is a subject when I started this back in 1993, I never dreamed we'd have to cover something like this in America. Y'all, it's an epidemic in our country. Matter of fact, in the state of Texas, they feel there's 100,000 traffickers in that state alone. Keep in mind, human traffickers, they don't operate in groups of one, they operate in groups of two or more. They like numbers in their favor. Now, keep something in mind. Criminals like that, they still have to isolate us before they can ever victimize us. So going back to what we talked about in one of our previous classes, we need to get away at point A if they start trying to move us or transport us. Now, let me point out to you why this subject is so important for everybody to be aware of. I was doing work for a school in Waco back in 2022. Everybody in the room knew the subject we was fixing to talk about. There's a young lady in the very back of the class. She raises her hand. I acknowledged her. Folks, this young lady, she stood before the group with the courage of a lion to tell us this. Guys, this is no joke. I was forced into human sex trafficking by my next door neighbors through violence at a very young age. Then they got me so addicted to methamphetamine and heroin that it took me 7 years to break the cycle. Y'all, this same young lady, she apologized to me for disrupting the class. I promised her. I said, you can't imagine how many people you helped today. Remember, these criminals have to isolate us before they can ever victimize us. I'm going to bring up another young lady here in just a minute. I never got the pleasure of meeting her. She was a student at one of the schools that I do work for about once every 12 months, and we'll just call it South Houston. That way I'm not getting right into the town and right into the school. One of these instructors at this school, she had seen me multiple occasions through the years, but she had never seen me talk about this subject. And she walked up to me and she said, Gary, I'm sure glad to hear you're talking about the human trafficking. I got to tell you about one of my past students. And I said, ma'am, what happened? She said, Gary, this young lady, at about 16, she met this young man online. Y'all, if you're thinking about running out and meeting a guy or girl because you think they're so cute, just remember that might not even be who you're going to meet. I believe y'all call that catfishing. Now here's what happened to this young lady. She got involved with this man, and this man, along with two other men, trafficked this young lady over a period of about 2 to 2.5 years before her mother was able to finally get her help. They got her addicted to pills. From what this instructor told me, this young lady liked Xanax. Her mother gets her help. She gets out of it. She's going to this school, getting an education and getting good grades. But remember, she sort of liked the pills. One evening when her and one of her friends was out partying, she got a hold of the wrong pill. Apparently it was some fentanyl. It killed her, and her friend was so afraid she didn't even call for help for 4 hours. Y'all, if you're thinking about running out and meeting a guy or girl because you think they're so cute, remember that might not even be who you're going to meet. If you choose to meet somebody, don't just depend on your cell phone staying in touch with that safe partner of yours. Have your safe partner follow you in another vehicle to that location so they can watch the front door of the building as well as your car to make sure you make it back to the car safe. And then they can also make sure that somebody else isn't just parked in the parking lot waiting to follow you home. Remember, these criminals don't operate in groups of one. They operate in groups of two or more. Y'all, most folks have heard of GHB by now. What it actually is an insecticide that farmers use on their crops. But in the city, it's known as the date rape drug, because they can do something as simple as mix it into a bottle of Visine, and about 2 drops inside a drink or ingested through food would incapacitate a 300-pound man. Y'all, if you go to a bar or party together, you leave together. Don't ever leave a drink unattended, and watch the bartenders make the drinks. Now, one other way traffickers might be able to shop and groom us besides social media, it's when we're in the public areas. If you ever feel like you're being followed, don't lead them back to where you live, because if they can figure out that key information, they can always figure out when we're home alone. Y'all might have heard me bring it up in the other class that 43% of all criminal assaults that occur, they happen in or around the victim's home. It's because of this. If they know where we live, they can come back. Y'all, this is the conclusion of this class from Protection Against Crime. Y'all, I encourage you to carry a non-lethal safety device with you that you can keep in your hands. If it looks like a gun, you can't carry it everywhere you go. If you're going to carry a can of pepper spray, you want to carry the stuff that works, not the stuff that don't. Go to OmegaFormulation.com and watch Frank Rakia, the newsman. You'll get to see him get sprayed with the stuff that didn't work so well, and then you'll get to see him get sprayed with the stuff that does work. You want to carry the stuff that works when the others don't. OmegaFormulation.com. Thank you.